Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
A major stop on the U.S. Open tennis series circuit has decided to call North Carolina home. Later this month, the Winston-Salem Open will take to the court for its debut year in our state. Tournament director Bill Oakes recently stopped by our studios to give us a preview.
Bill Oakes, welcome to North Carolina and North Carolina Now.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to moving my family this summer to Winston-Salem in North Carolina.
And of course, your new job in Winston-Salem, you're the tournament director of the Winston-Salem Open. And this is the first year for the tournament in Winston-Salem, but there is some history behind this particular tournament, this venue. Talk about that and how come it ended up in Winston-Salem?
Well, it's kind of interesting. There are only 13 professional tournaments on the ATP Tour in the United States. There used to be probably 35, 20, 30 years ago, but it's down to 13. And some of the cities that don't have them are cities like Boston, Dallas, Chicago. I mean, these are large towns that have very good tennis communities, but Winston-Salem makes so much sense. And a lot of people say, well, why? Winston-Salem has had a tremendous tennis history over the last 50 years. They've hosted a number of successful exhibitions. It was the first tournament in the South to host the American Tennis Association National Championships in the early 60s, and that's the African American Tennis Association. And bringing that to the South at that time in our history was not very common, and it was the first city to host it in the South. It was very successful. But more recently, 2001, 2007, and 2008, had extremely successful Davis Cups. They were 3-0. The U.S. was 3-0, beating India, Spain, and France in front of crowds that were over 15,000 in Winston-Salem per day. So it has been a tremendous town to support tennis, both at the recreational and pro level over the last 50 years. And the week that we're playing in, which is the week prior to the U.S. Open, being the last tournament prior to the last major of the year, draws a lot of top folks. And the tournament, we bought it, actually a group in Winston-Salem bought it and moved it from New Haven, Connecticut to here. And again, it's going to be a wonderful week of tennis. I think it makes a lot of sense because it fits the plans for the players. It's not too far, and the players that show up, if they play on Saturday, they're going to get we're going to provide private air jet transportation to New York City, and they don't have to play the U.S. Open on Monday. So they actually get a full day off, and it makes it a real advantage from where it used to be, where you may be playing on Sunday at a previous tournament and then maybe have to play on Monday at the U.S. Open. So they're going to have 2 days off, easy transportation to New York. And a lot of these tournaments, it may be 20, 30 minutes to get from the hotel to the site. 5 minutes tops. Love the traffic. I love the traffic in Winston-Salem. Big difference for me moving from Atlanta.
Now, as tournament director, some people might think you sit in the glass tower and you look down on everything, but you have to wear many hats. Talk about the process that takes place in trying to put such a venue together, and especially here in Winston-Salem.
Well, if you think about any pro sports event you go to, or collegiate or whatever, and you think of it as just a blank parking lot, because that's what I walked into on February 9th when I started this job. It was just a parking lot. It wasn't a tennis venue yet, and you have to make every decision. What kind of credentials? Where do the credentials give you access to? What are we going to give the sponsors for what they pay? How much are tickets going to cost? Who's going to sell the tickets? What kind of volunteers do we need? Who's the photographer? I mean, every little thing. And then I haven't even broached what kind of players are we going to get. It is difficult because it's part art, part science to get these guys to come play. So you have to make every little decision. I mean, there are tens of thousands of decisions you have to make. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I sit in a glass tower. I sit on a very old chair, but most of the time during the tournament, people will see me walking around the grounds. I am there to make sure that everybody's experience, whether they're the players, whether they're the volunteers, or the ticket buyers, or the sponsors, is having a good time. So if you come to the tournament, you're going to probably see me walking around a lot. I get to lose a lot of weight during the week of the tournament, so it actually is pretty good, but it's good for my fitness, I guess, is the best way to put it. But you make every decision, and for the first 2.5 months, I didn't have staff yet. So it was, getting staff hired and all those type of things. Most of these events take 12 months to produce. We had 6.5. So a very truncated timetable, and we had to build a facility. The folks at Wake Forest have done a tremendous job really overseeing a majority of the construction. Frank L. Bloom Construction Company based in Winston has just been, they've been just gone extra above and beyond every day to make sure that this facility is going to be done on time and on budget.
And of course, you already have some top-seeded players who have already committed to this Open. Talk about some of those players and perhaps the importance of them being here in this Open.
Well, our top seed, Marty Fish, ranked 8th in the world, quarterfinalist at Wimbledon. When he played Davis Cup against Spain in early July, a number of the other players were saying, well, Marty, why are you playing this week? This is not normally a week you would play, or somebody who's ranked that high would traditionally play. And his answer was, look, it's easy to get transportation from Winston-Salem to New York. They're going to take great care of us. The surface, the facility is going to be exactly what I need to prepare and practice for, and I'll get to play a number of matches. It makes a lot of sense. So Marty Fish, Jürgen Melzer, who's ranked 12th in the world, one of the big names for North Carolina, and well, he's the biggest guy on tour probably, John Isner, all 6 feet 10 inches of him, will be playing. He grew up in Greensboro, went to Page High School, and he's coming to play. We've got a number of really good players. We're getting contacted by players regularly. James Blake, who played a number of Davis Cup matches, a lot of people may remember, Marcus Bagdatis, Nikolai Davydenko. These are guys all ranked in the top 30 that are coming to play. We're getting a lot of really positive feedback. Tommy Robredo, a Spanish player who played Davis Cup in Winston-Salem in 2007, had such a good experience that he thought, well, you know, I really liked Winston-Salem. It's a good preparatory place for us. So his agent called me 3 days before the sign-in deadline and said, hey, we need to get Tommy to play. How about a little, extra hotel room, a couple other things? But those are things that, for the players, make a big difference. And so we've been really blessed to have a number of players that are really good that want to come and play Winston-Salem because they recognize we're building the exact same course as they have at the U.S. Open. And people say, well, don't all the summer tournaments have? They don't have exactly the same court. We're building same number of layers of cushioning. It's actually a gentleman in from Raleigh, North Carolina, who's building our court surface for us. And it's the same number of cushioning. At the U.S. Open, they put an extra coat to kind of help with TV to make it look prettier. Well, we don't need that, but we're doing it as well just because it will make it feel the exact same for all the top guys that are coming to play.
Now, for folks who want to find out more about the Winston-Salem Open, ticket information, even volunteer for the Open, where can they go?
Well, first off, and I probably should have taken care of this in the first. I'm going to get my hands slapped probably a little bit by my board, but August 20th through the 27th, it's at Wake Forest University, adjacent to BB&T Field. It's actually built right next to the East Concourse of BB&T Field. You can go find out information at www.winstonsalem.open.com, information about tickets, volunteering, sponsoring, when it's on TV, all of those things are answered for you right there. Heck, for even you, there's that media credential space that you can go and sign up so you get a chance to come out and watch some tennis.
And my final question, Bill, just how important, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, to have Winston-Salem as this spot, especially when it comes to the community and the economic aspect of just having this type of venue, and it's a permanent venue.
Well, Winston-Salem Open is our title sponsor, and most people go, well, so what? Well, if you think about professional sports, tennis, golf, beach volleyball, lacrosse, whatever, they have a title sponsor that's a corporate name. And because of the corporate partnerships that we've developed in Winston-Salem, we're actually not selling a title sponsorship. It's very unique in professional sports that you're not selling a brand name at the top. College football games all have them as well. We're able to keep Winston-Salem as the brand of the tournament. And what does that mean? That means a lot when you think about the fact that we're going to be able to promote Winston-Salem, the Triad, and the entire state of North Carolina to, on the TV that we have, including CBS covering our finals, ESPN2 Tennis Channel, but we're also going to be televised in about 45 countries. We've got a lot of publicity that we'll have throughout the summer when people are watching the U.S. Open or tournaments, including as early as Wimbledon. They're promoting the Winston-Salem Open in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, again, being one of only 13 tournaments on the ATP Tour. And the tournament is owned by a 501c4 community-based charity. And that means that all the profits that we have from the tournament are going to go back into the community. We're the only tournament on the ATP Tour that is a 501c4. So all that's going back in, our main beneficiary is the Forsyth County Winston-Salem School Middle School athletic programs. And why is that so important? Why do we specifically pick that? Well, athletic programs not only help for kids and how they feel in Michelle Obama's Get Fit campaign and what she's promoting in Washington, D.C., but it also prevents when 13, 14-year-old boys and girls go home because they don't have athletics to do after school. What ends up happening? They get in trouble. And so this is really a way to help us fund an area of the school system that has seen cutbacks over the last 10, 15 years. So we're looking forward to being able to help in the community. We're going to be here for a long time, building a brand new stadium that can host other events. That's another part that it can do. We're hoping that we're going to be able to add things like music, concerts during the summer and other events when we build this facility, and a permanent stadium, which we plan to build 2012 and 13, sometime in that time frame, that we'll be able to do more events in the community and really help grow what's going on at Winston-Salem and at Wake Forest University.
Bill Oakes, Tournament Director of the Winston-Salem Open, thank you so very much for stopping by, and much success to you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.